20 most iconic cars of the 1970s in the USA. From the growl of American muscle to the sharp lines of European exotics, the cars of the 1970s were bold and unforgettable. This was a decade where design broke rules, whether tearing up movie screens or just cruising the boulevard. These machines define an era. Buckle up as we take a ride through the most iconic cars of the 1970s, because they just don't make them like this anymore. Pontiac Grand Am. Let's rewind to 1973, when the Pontiac Grand Am rolled down the streets like a muscle car in a designer suit. It was Pontiac's bold move to combine American power with European style. With its deep-cut nose, sculpted bodywork, and luxurious yet sporty interior, the Grand Am stood out from a sea of copycats. Open the hood, and you'll find formidable power, a standard 400 cubic inch V8 ready to roar, or, if you're feeling particularly bold, an optional 4 cubic inch beast that could make you spend too much. Thanks to the radial adjustable suspension, this muscle car delivers a ride so smooth you might mistake it for a European car. Powerful, stylish, and surprisingly refined. It's a muscle car that still exudes elegance. Honda Civic. The 1972 Honda Civic quietly rolled into America and changed the game. No muscle, no flash, just smart, simple brilliance. At a time when gas prices were climbing and big engines were guzzling everything in sight, the Civic was an instant hit. The Civic showed up with a modest 1.2L four-cylinder and a message: less is more. It wasn't trying to impress anyone with chrome or horsepower. Instead, it won people over with reliability, great fuel economy, and clever design that made the most of its small size. The '72 Civic wasn't just a car, it was a gentle revolution on four wheels, proving that great things can come in small, affordable packages. Cadillac Seville. The 1976 Cadillac Seville was Cadillac's refined answer to changing times. A downsized luxury sedan built for a new kind of driver. With rising fuel costs and European imports gaining ground, Cadillac knew it had to adapt, and with the Seville, it did so with surprising grace. Still unmistakably Cadillac, the Seville was elegant, with crisp lines, upright styling, and just the right amount of chrome. Inside, it offered the plushness you'd expect: leather seats, wood trim, and a quiet ride that felt more like gliding than driving. Under the hood was a fuel-injected V8. Looking back, the 1976 Seville was a turning point. It proved that luxury didn't have to be massive to be impressive. In a decade of excess, the Seville whispered class without shouting. 4. Chevrolet Camaro. The 1970 Chevrolet Camaro stands tall as one of the most iconic muscle cars of its era, blending raw power, head-turning style, and a fierce sense of purpose. The second-generation Camaro featured a completely redesigned body with a more aggressive silhouette that looked fast, even standing still. From the muscular 396 cubic inch V8 to the legendary 427, the 1970 Camaro brought serious firepower to the streets. Whether you picked the bold SS or the track-ready Z28, this car wasn't just about straight-line speed. It handled with confidence and precision, making every drive feel like a performance. More than just a muscle car, the 1970 Camaro was a statement, a new chapter in Chevy's playbook, and one that's still celebrated today. The 1977 Lincoln Versailles. The 1977 Lincoln Versailles was Ford's bold attempt to bring American luxury into competition with European sophistication. As Lincoln's first foray into the compact luxury segment, the Versailles featured elegant design cues such as a formal roofline, chrome trim, and a lavishly appointed interior. Under the hood, a V8 engine delivered smooth cruising power, while inside, plush leather seats and wood grain accents offered an upscale driving experience. Though often seen as a rebadged Ford Granada, the Versailles stood as a symbol of Lincoln's desire to adapt to shifting consumer tastes during a time of rising fuel costs and changing expectations around size and performance. Do you recognize any of the cars we just talked about? The 1978 Jaguar XJS. The 1978 Jaguar XJS was like a jazz musician in a world of disco smooth, moody, and unapologetically stylish. When Jaguar retired the legendary E-Type, the XJS stepped in, wearing a flowing coupe body and rear flying buttresses that looked like they came from a Bond film storyboard. Under the hood purred a majestic V12 engine, perfect for long, romantic drives or spirited ones if you were running late for tea. Inside, it smelled of leather and old books, and you half expected a pipe and newspaper to be included. The XJS wasn't perfect, but it didn't need to be. It just needed to look good doing whatever it was doing. And boy, did it. De Tomaso Pantera. The 1972. De Tomaso Pantera was a striking blend of Italian style and American muscle, making it one of the most unique and thrilling cars of the 1970s. Designed by Giacomo Giorgetto Giugiaro, the Pantera had a low, wide stance with sharp, angular lines and an unmistakable, unique look that set it apart from other supercars of the era. Powered by a 351 cubic inch Ford V8, the Pantera delivered blistering speed and a soul-crushing exhaust note that rivaled the best American muscle cars. The Pantera could make you forget everything. It was passion on four wheels, the kind of car that turned heads every time you parked. Porsche 911 1970. The Porsche 911 1970 was an oddball underdog in a family of purebred race cars, part Porsche, part Volkswagen, and all with a lot of character. With its pop-up headlights, removable Targa roof, and transverse four-cylinder engine tucked behind the seats. The 911 featured a mid-engine design, which helped deliver a balanced, nimble ride that made it a joy to drive on twisty roads and tracks. You didn't need a track to enjoy the 914. A winding country road and a sunny afternoon would suffice. It might not have the prestige of its 911 sibling, but it had one thing it could do better: charm. 1979 Toyota Celica. The 1979 Toyota Celica was Japan's answer to the American pony car, only smaller, smarter, and better at holding a grudge against rust. With its crisp lines, sporty stance, and fastback styling, the Celica became a favorite among those seeking a stylish yet affordable sports coupe. Inside, you got simple gauges, tight-fitting seats, and the feeling that this car got you. Powered by a 2.0L four-cylinder engine, the 1979 Celica delivered solid performance while maintaining excellent fuel efficiency. It was the kind of coupe that turned weekend errands into miniature road trips, all while sipping fuel and never breaking a sweat. Stylish, reliable, and just a little bit rebellious. It was a quiet thrill that lasted. 1970 Dodge Challenger. The 1970 Dodge Challenger was a true muscle car icon, representing the pinnacle of American performance and style in the early 70s. It was Dodge's late but thunderous entry into the muscle car wars, with bold styling, bulging fenders, and enough engine options to make your neighbor jealous and your tires cry. From the modest slant 6 to the fire-breathing 426 Hemi, the Challenger didn't just offer power, it served it with attitude. It was fast, loud, unapologetic, and built for one thing: making memories in straight lines and smoky donuts. Today, it's a four-wheeled time machine to a louder, prouder, and more gasoline-scented America. Let us know in the comments which one you've seen, driven, or always wanted to own. 1975 Ford Granada. The 1975 Ford Granada, the car that wanted to be a Mercedes. Ford marketed it as a European-style luxury compact, which mostly meant square headlights and simulated wood trim. The Granada came across as a more upscale, well-rounded alternative to the typical American sedan. It may not have turned heads, but it turned keys every morning. Inside, the Granada offered a plush interior with luxury touches like leather upholstery and a quiet ride, making it a comfortable cruiser for families or executives. In a decade full of gas crises and shifting expectations, the Granada stood its ground as the dependable, no-frills family friend. Pontiac Phoenix. The 1979 Pontiac Phoenix was the kind of car that quietly slid into the driveway and stayed there for years. Dependable, modest, and just a bit more stylish than it needed to be. Positioned as a compact alternative with a touch of Pontiac flair, the Phoenix tried to bring a hint of Firebird attitude to a family-friendly platform, with its angular lines, stacked headlights, and optional V6 or V8 under the hood. It had enough muscle to feel respectable without scaring the insurance company. It wasn't flashy, but it had charm, especially when paired with vinyl seats, fake wood trim, and a good AM radio station on a summer evening drive. Ford LTD II. The 1977 Ford LTD II was big, bold, and absolutely unapologetic about taking up 2 parking spaces. Born in a time when size still meant status, the LTD II came with a long hood, wide stance, and enough chrome to blind you on a sunny day. It wasn't about performance, it was about presence. Inside, it was like a rolling living room, complete with shag-like carpeting and velour seats that swallowed you whole. It may not have cornered like a sports car, but it cruised like a dream, especially if you had the 8-track playing some Bee Gees. The LTD II was comfort on wheels, big American comfort with a hint of disco. 1978 Pontiac Sunbird. The 1978 Pontiac Sunbird was like your fun-loving cousin who didn't take life too seriously, compact, cheerful, and always up for a road trip. Built to appeal to younger drivers and anyone feeling the pinch of rising fuel prices, the Sunbird offered sporty styling without the cost of a true performance car. Its sloped nose, rally stripes, and hatchback option gave it just enough flair to stand out in the parking lot. Powered by either a 4-cylinder or V6 engine, the Sunbird offered a modest but fun driving experience. Sure, it wasn't going to win any drag races, but it had personality. Its fuel efficiency, sharp handling, and more youthful appeal made it popular during the energy-conscious 70s. Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme Convertible. The 1972 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme Convertible was pure early 70s swagger, equal parts muscle and class, wrapped in a drop-top package that begged for open roads and sunny skies. With its long, flowing body lines, bold front grille, and just the right amount of chrome, it struck a perfect balance between street-smart performance and driveway appeal. Under the hood, drivers could choose from a range of gutsy V8s, including the legendary 455 cubic inch option that delivered a deep growl and plenty of go. But it wasn't all about speed. The ride was smooth, the cabin was plush, and everything from the soft seats to the wood-accented dash whispered luxury. It was the kind of car that made every Sunday cruise feel like a celebration and turned heads at every stoplight. Lamborghini Countach LP400. The 1974 Lamborghini Countach LP400 didn't just arrive. It landed like a spaceship, with its razor-sharp angles, impossibly low stance, and those now legendary scissor doors, it looked more like a fantasy sketch than a production car. Beneath the wild design was a 3.9L V12 engine that roared to life with 375 horsepower, launching the car from 0 to 60 mph in under 6 seconds. A jaw-dropping number back then. But performance was just part of the package. The Countach redefined what a supercar could look like. It wasn't just fast, it was a poster on every teenager's wall, a rolling dream that turned heads and bent minds wherever it went. Chevrolet Chevette. In a decade when practicality started to outshine power, the 1979 Chevrolet Chevette rolled in as Chevrolet's answer to changing times. As Americans turned towards smaller, more fuel-efficient cars, the Chevette offered exactly what they needed: no frills, no fuss, just affordable transportation. It wore its simplicity proudly, with clean lines, basic interiors, and a let's-get-the-job-done attitude. Under the hood, a modest 1.4L four-cylinder engine did its job quietly, prioritizing fuel economy over flash. Whether in hatchback or sedan form, it proved itself a reliable city commuter, easy to park, cheap to maintain, and just roomy enough for daily life. It may not have been glamorous, but the Chevette earned its place as a dependable workhorse for the budget-conscious driver of the late 70s. 1971 Chevrolet Vega. The 1971 Chevrolet Vega was GM's bold step into the compact car arena, aiming to blend style, affordability, and innovation into one sleek little package. With its clean, almost European-inspired lines and lightweight aluminum engine, the Vega looked like the future. Designed to appeal to a new generation of economy-minded drivers, it offered a smooth ride and decent handling for its class. But while the Vega turned heads in showrooms, real-world reliability was a mixed bag. Still, for many drivers, it was their first taste of freedom, a stylish and small car that didn't break the bank. The Vega remains a symbol of ambitious design in a time when the American auto industry was learning to think smaller. 1971 Pontiac Grand Safari. The 1971 Pontiac Grand Safari was not just a station wagon. It was a land yacht with chrome trim and room for the whole neighborhood. This was the golden age of big American family haulers, and the Grand Safari sailed at the top of the fleet. With its massive V8 engines, clamshell tailgate, and plush interior, it brought muscle car flair to the family car segment. Whether you were heading to a cross-country vacation or just the grocery store, the Grand Safari made every trip feel like a grand adventure. It guzzled gas, sure, but it also carried memories. It was the suburban dream on wheels, when bigger really did feel better. 1979 Volkswagen Rabbit. The 1979 Volkswagen Rabbit was the cheeky little car that proved you didn't need size to have fun. Nimble, practical, and unmistakably European, the Rabbit brought German efficiency and clever design to American roads just when drivers were looking for smaller, smarter options. Its boxy charm, front-wheel drive, and surprising interior space made it a hit among city drivers and college kids alike. With its fuel-sipping four-cylinder engine and tight handling, the Rabbit was more than just practical. It was actually fun to drive. It was simple, smart, and just quirky enough to earn lifelong fans. Love the trip back to the 70s? Then go ahead and smash that like button. Share this with fellow car lovers, and subscribe to the channel for more vintage rides and timeless memories. Your support keeps the engine running and the nostalgia rolling.